Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Prasar coming up in the next 30 minutes. Cabinet Committee on Security meets at Prime Minister Narendra Modi's residence. PM Modi also chairs other key cabinet meetings. Federal investigators intensify probe in the Pahalgam terror attack. Bangladesh court grants bail to former ISKCON leader Chinmoy Das in a sedition case. Sources say Ukraine is ready to sign the long-anticipated minerals agreement with the United States, even as Kremlin says Putin is open to a Ukraine peace deal, but it cannot be achieved as per America's timeline. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a key cabinet committee meeting. It's called the Cabinet Committee on Security today. And earlier the CCS had met last on the 23rd of April to review the overall security situation in the country following the Pahalgam terror attack. The meeting chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi had condemned the April 22 Pahalgam attack in the strongest terms and expressed deepest condolences to the families of the victims and hoped for early recovery of the injured. It resolved that the perpetrators of the attack will be brought to justice and their sponsors held to account. The meeting of the Political Affairs Committee was also held under the chairmanship of PM Modi today. A meeting of the Union Cabinet was also held. Wednesday's Cabinet panel meetings come a day after a high-level meeting was convened by the Prime Minister at his residence in New Delhi on Tuesday. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, CDS Anil Chauhan and the chiefs of the three services also attended the meeting. The high-level meeting was held to review security and preparedness of the defence forces following the Pahalgam terror attack. Meanwhile, India has intensified the probe in Pahalgam terror attack in which 26 people, mainly tourists, were killed on April 22nd. The National Investigation Agency team has recreated the crime scene and is meticulously gathering evidence from every corner. They are also examining the past contacts of mule operators to determine any involvement in previous criminal activities. Security has been tightened in the Kashmir Valley. As a precautionary measure, checkposts have been raised at important tourist locations in Srinagar. Vehicles are being checked thoroughly and details of the vehicle owners are being registered by the CRPF and J&K police. DD India correspondent Vishal Baristo brings us this ground report from the Dal Lake.
I am here at the Dal Lake in Srinagar, and there you can see security has been beefed. People are being questioned. All vehicles are being checked properly. Their verification is being done here. There you see the details are being registered on the register. This is the increased security in Srinagar. They are taking all care. It is the CRPF and the Jammu and Kashmir police. The armed police from the CRPF, they are manning the different locations here in Srinagar because the safety and security of the tourists and the place is the utmost requirement of the time. With cameraman Mohit Uike in Srinagar, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has approved 22,864 crore rupees project to develop a 166.8 kilometers 4-lane access-controlled greenfield highway from Mo-Lingkhung in Meghalaya to Panchgram in Silchar, Assam. The corridor, mostly in Meghalaya, aims to boost connectivity between Guwahati and Silchar, reduce travel time, enhance logistics efficiency, support regional economic development and promote tourism in the northeast. The project aligns, in fact, with the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan.
शिलचर से शिलोंग, शिलोंग से शिलचर हमारे नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न सेक्टर में एक बहुत बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट हाई स्पीड कॉरिडोर हाईवे का मेघालय और आसाम को जोड़ता हुआ वो अप्रूव हुआ है। बहुत बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट है। 22,864 करोड़ रुपीस का इसका एस्टिमेटेड कॉस्ट है। 166 किलोमीटर्स 4 लेन access controlled, बहुत important है.
Amid continuing ceasefire violations by Pakistan, Director General Military Operations or DGMO of India as well as Pakistan talked over hotline on Tuesday, defense sources said, to discuss the unprovoked ceasefire violations by Pakistan. India warned Pakistan against the unprovoked violations by Pakistan Army along the line of control. In Bangladesh, the High Court has granted bail to Chinmoy Krishnadas Brahmachari, former ESCON leader, in a high-profile sedition case. The ruling came from a bench led by Justice Muhammad Atwar Rahman and Justice Muhammad Ali Reza. Chinmoy was arrested on 25th November last year, accused of hoisting a saffron flag above the national flag during a Hindu rally in Chattogram. His arrest triggered widespread protest from the Hindu community demanding his release. Violence followed, including deadly clashes outside the Chattogram court, where a lawyer, Saiful Islam Alif, was allegedly killed. Several cases were filed in the aftermath. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi announced that Iran will hold nuclear talks with Britain, France and Germany in Rome on Friday. The talks aim to ease tensions and improve strained relations ahead of a fourth round of nuclear discussions with the US this weekend. Araghchi criticized Europe's diminished role due to past policies but confirmed the meeting with the E3. Tehran proposed the meeting and European officials confirmed their attendance.
In my view, the three European countries' role has been diminished due to their wrong policies in the past. Of course, we are not in favor of this situation, and for this reason we prepared to meet with European countries and hold it in Rome. 4 rounds have been held so far. We are interested in this issue being resolved and concluded within an international understanding with a global perspective towards it, and we will continue our own negotiations with the Europeans. But the primary negotiations at present are with the United States.
Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov on Wednesday said that President Vladimir Putin is open to peace in Ukraine and intense work is going on with the United States. Peskov added that Putin had expressed a willingness for direct talks with Ukraine, but that there had been no answer yet from Kyiv.
Президент Путин, я напомню вам, выступая в Кремле.
Now the president remains open to political and diplomatic methods of resolving the conflict, but the situation is at this. We heard no reaction from Kyiv. The process continues.
Но перед тем, как на это пойти, нужно ответить на ряд вопросов и урегулировать целый ряд нюансов, которые тоже президент Путин перечислил.
Earlier on Tuesday, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio declared that it was time for Ukraine and Russia to present concrete peace proposals or risk losing U.S. mediation altogether. U.S. State Department warned that continued inaction could force the U.S. to step back from peace efforts. Both Kyiv and Moscow claim to support progress, yet remain locked in mutual blame.
I do have something I can tell you that the Secretary said to me. We are now at a time where concrete proposals need to be delivered by the two parties on how to end this conflict. How we proceed from here is a decision that belongs now to the President. If there is not progress, we will step back as mediators in this process.
The Ukrainian government source has hinted that Ukraine is expected to sign a key minerals agreement with the United States on Wednesday. Economy Minister Yulia Severodhenko will travel to Washington for the signing, pending final approval of the draft by Kyiv. The deal includes a proposed 50-50 joint fund between the two countries. The two sides signed a memorandum on April 18th as an initial step towards clinching an accord on developing mineral resources in Ukraine. In the memorandum, they said they aimed to complete talks by the 26th of April and sign the deal as soon as possible. US President Donald Trump said in February he wanted Ukraine to supply the country with rare earths in return for financially supporting Kyiv's war effort against Russia. And here's a look at news stories from around the world. Swedish police said on Wednesday they have apprehended a suspect following a shooting in which 3 people were killed in the city of Uppsala on Tuesday. Meanwhile, police said that the victims are yet to be identified and declined to speculate on the motive for the killings. The incident happened on the eve of the Walpurgis Spring Festival, which brings in large crowds onto the streets of Uppsala. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz chaired his final weekly cabinet meeting on Wednesday ahead of handing over power to incoming Chancellor Friedrich Merz next Tuesday. Merz's CDU/CSU Conservatives, who won February's election, have formed a coalition with the SPD to tackle economic slowdown and rising global tensions, including the US-led trade war and NATO's defense concerns. Police scaled up security around former South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol's private residence in Seoul on Wednesday. This comes after prosecutors started conducting search operation. Yoon was ousted from office on the 4th of April over his attempt to declare martial law late last year. Wildfires continue to rage near Jerusalem and southern Israel, prompting evacuations in areas near Lachish and Kiryat Gat. Communities including Far, Warburg, Shafiq and Masud Yitzhak are under threat. Police are aiding fire crews and have closed forest areas, evacuating hikers. No injuries have been reported so far. At least 17 people were injured after an explosion rocked a residential area in northern China's Shaanxi province on Wednesday. A total of 210 firefighters and 43 fire trucks were deployed to the scene to contain the aftermath. Local officials have yet to determine the cause of the blast. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Donald Trump says tariff talks with India are going great, expects a US-India trade deal soon. And India tops Asian Under-15 boxing championships tally with 25 medals in Jordan.
I'm on a quest to explore the history of Goa. A land steeped in diverse and intersecting cultures and traditions.
I think this is one of my favorite pieces of art in the city.
Here, influences from multiple faiths coalesce in beautiful ways. From religious sites to charming villages and vibrant streets. Watch Postcards from Goa on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live with me, Munmin Bhattacharya. Some international news. US President Donald Trump has said that tariff negotiations with India were coming along great and he thinks the two countries will strike a trade deal soon. Trump made these remarks while speaking to reporters outside the White House on Tuesday.
India is coming along great. I think we'll have a deal with India. The Prime Minister, as you know, was here 3 weeks ago, and they want to make a deal. We'll see what happens. Thank you.
Donald Trump had levied a 26% reciprocal tariff on India, but later announced a 90-day pause on the duties to discuss trade agreements with several countries. Gold prices rose on Tuesday as investor concerns over US President Donald Trump's proposed tariffs pushed demand for safe haven assets. Spot gold gained 0.4% to $3,222.31 an ounce following Monday's record high of $3,245.42. US gold futures also climbed 0.4% to $3,238.6. Rising global tensions and expectations of Fed rate cuts have boosted bullion over 23% this year. Meanwhile, Chinese physically backed gold exchange traded funds or ETF inflows this month have surpassed first quarter totals and US fund investments. Silver dipped 0.2%, platinum rose 0.4% and palladium slipped 0.5%. Trump softened the blow of his auto tariffs through an executive order by mixing credits with relief from other levies on parts and materials. Joining us with more on how that could affect European car makers is DW correspondent Chiponda Chimbelu in Berlin. Chiponda, what is changing?
Thanks for having me. Well, the plan by the United States government will reduce tariffs for automakers by not charging them for other duties, such as the ones on steel and aluminum imports into the United States. And auto manufacturers won't have to pay as high tariffs when assembling cars in the US with foreign parts. Now, this is in response to the fact that the auto industry and analysts have said that tariffs could raise consumer prices, reduce sales, and make auto manufacturing in the United States less competitive. Now, it is worth noting that this relief measure was announced during US President Trump's visit to Michigan, and that is a state whose economy heavily relies on the auto industry. But of course, it is also welcome news for European car makers as well.
Also, how will this affect car makers, if you could make that point?
Well, it is worth mentioning that this move benefits U.S. car makers more than it does the foreign ones, and that is in particular the ones that assemble vehicles in the United States with foreign-made auto parts. And these changes are also retroactive, and that means that car makers that have already paid the tariffs that went into effect earlier will be reimbursed for those costs. Now, the additional time will also allow car makers to shift their production and rejig supply chains to allow them to move manufacturing to the United States. Now, obviously, some European car makers may also be breathing a big sigh of relief, especially if they do assemble a significant amount of vehicles in the United States. But those with more assembly plants in Canada and Mexico are not set to benefit as much from the change. And one of the most vulnerable companies in that group is Germany's Volkswagen, which is also Europe's biggest car maker. Only 1 in 5 of the vehicles it sells in the United States is assembled in the country. Now, VW relies heavily on production facilities in Mexico to supply the US market.
And lastly, what can we expect from Europe's auto industry?
Well, Europe's auto industry was already struggling before the US announced any tariffs on foreign-made vehicles. And earnings results from Volkswagen today show that for sure its year-on-year profit declined nearly 41% in the first quarter of this year. And Europe's biggest car maker blamed that on poor sales in China and heavy one-off charges. And it isn't the only European car maker that is struggling. Sports car maker Porsche and Sweden's Volvo have also disappointed with their results this week. Now, demand in China is slowing and European automakers are struggling in the electric vehicle segment where they face more competition from China. Tariffs, of course, have added to the challenges that Europe's auto industry was facing. And before the Trump administration announced the change this week, an estimate by Bloomberg News showed that additional tariffs could wipe out about a quarter of Porsche's and Mercedes' operating profit next year. So while there is some relief for European car makers in the latest changes, the bumpy ride isn't quite over for them.
Chiponda Chimbelu reporting from Berlin. On to news on the WAVE Summit now. Mumbai is all set to host the inaugural World Audio, Visual and Entertainment Summit from May 1 to May 4. The event is backed by the Indian government, marking a significant milestone for the entertainment industry. The initiative has been widely praised by the entertainment sector, highlighting its potential to elevate India's position in the global audiovisual and entertainment landscape. DD India had an exclusive conversation with Bollywood actor and WAVE's advisory member Anupam Kher. Take a look.
I have with me Bollywood legend Anupam Kher. Sir, tell us about WAVES. How do you like this idea?
I think it's going to put India is already on a world map, but it's going to the Prime Minister's idea of putting India on a world map of entertainment audiovisual program. is phenomenal. The people, the preparation is going to be so good. I'm in the advisory committee, and we know, I have now seen the scale is so mammoth, and it should be. I think if the economic forum is Davos, this is in the next 10 years, people will say, this is how we started it.
Sir, it will definitely generate creative economy, and it is also providing a dynamic platform to creators to come and showcase their prowess, something which is one of its kind. How do you react to that?
Of course, I think soft power of India is phenomenal. It's very rich, and it will I always say that we are the first people who wrote a book about acting, which was in 4th century BC, Natya Shastra, and this will take that economic shape. It will reshape the world and bring so many people together. Today we are in the world of collaboration, and to collaborate with so many people all over the world with economic and entertainment and mixing it together will be fantastic.
Sir, you just talked about collaboration. There will be investors, there will be sellers, buyers, and creators also. The content is growing global, and we as an Indians are celebrating the spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
So far, we were trying to sort of make world understand that we can be Vishwaguru, not because of any forcibly saying that. Whether it is yoga or whether it is performances, whether we have 30 kinds of folk forms, classical forms, music, नृत्य. हम तो इतने धनी हैं, हमारी तो कोई किसी से तुलना ही नहीं हो सकती है. हमारी भाषाएं, 22 official languages, 3,000 dialects, food. We are a rich nation and we are a young country. We will really in the next few years dominate in every department. Idea is not to dominate. Idea is to tell the world that we are there.
That was Bollywood legend and Waves advisory member Anupam Kher, who said that Waves has already made a mark on the world map, and in the coming years will show the world that we are evolving with a rapid pace. With camera person Jagmohan, this is Siddharth Bharadwaj reporting for DD India in Mumbai.
Sports news now. India topped the Asian Under-15 Boxing Championships tally with 25 medals. That includes 11 golds, 3 silver and 11 bronze medals in Jordan. The rich haul of the medals was sparred by a stellar showing in the girls category. The women boxers secured 10 golds and 4 bronze medals across the 15 weight appearances, winning every title bout they contested in the finals. The focus now shifts to the Under-17 finals, where 7 Indian boxers will fight for medals and look to close the tournament on a high. After 2 matches against the Australia A side, the Indian women's hockey team will face the senior team on Thursday. Team India, led by captain Salima Tete and vice captain Navneet Kaur, will clash against Australia's senior team in a 3-match friendly series. India will look to improve their performance after suffering 2 defeats in the first 2 games against Australia A. In the first match, India fought valiantly but lost 3-5. In the second match, India suffered an unfortunate defeat with a narrow score line of 2-3. The Olympic Council of Asia has confirmed the inclusion of cricket in the 2026 Asian Games to be held in Japan. Cricket, along with mixed martial arts, are set to feature in the competition. The venue for cricket tournament will be in Aichi Prefecture. The inclusion is expected to generate strong interest among spectators, especially due to cricket's huge fan following in South Asia. That's it in this edition of DD India Live, but do share your thoughts with us on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and around the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. This is Munmun Bhattacharya from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.